Alright. So, in the world of Cheerios, there are 4 levels of Cheerios. At the very top of the class. Right. At the very top of the class, there's the chocolate chip, the chocolate covered Cheerios, right? And everybody loves the chocolate covered Cheerios because they're delicious. And they're not nutritious, but they're really, really good. Everybody eats them. They're so popular. They're the richest of all the Cheerios. You're filming this.
Yep.
They're filming it over.
Anyways, right below those chocolate covered Cheerios are the honey nut Cheerios. Now people like honey nut Cheerios, but they're not as top flight as. Below that then, there are there's just the normal Cheerios. And these are your average Cheerios. And most of the Cheerios in the Cheerio world are in the normal Cheerio rank. Anyway. So they're really average, people eat them, but they're not all that great. Anyway, and below that, at the very bottom, treated like the slaves of the Cheerio world, are the whole grain Cheerios. Okay, nobody likes whole grain Cheerios because they taste disgusting. They're the most unpopular Cheerio out there. Anyway, our story is a story about one little whole grain Cheerio. Now this whole grain Cheerio does not like his life as a whole grain Cheerio at all. Because of all the reasons I told you earlier. They suck. Anyway, this whole grain Cheerio thought to himself, well, I don't want to be a whole grain Cheerio anymore. I want to go up. I want to be something myself. I want to become a normal Cheerio, to become any Cheerio higher than your own rank. You have to pass this massive, massive test. And it's a really difficult test. And most Cheerios do not pass it. You pass it, then you come to the level above you. Anyway, so, shouldn't have chucked a lot of Coca-Cola. So the Cheerio studies for the test for 5 years, right? He takes the test, and after a couple of weeks, he gets his results back, and he's passed, yes. Alright? So now he's really happy, because now he's a normal Cheerio. And not very many Cheerios actually do this. Anyway, he's really happy with his life as a normal Cheerio. But after a couple months, he starts to get weird. I want to be more than this. I want to be greater than just your average Cheerio. I want to be honey nut test for 10 years, right? 10 years of study. He's passed again. So now he's at the next level of Cheerios. He's up to honey nut Cheerio. And he's really happy. And another couple months go by, but he thinks to himself, now, it's great being a honey nut Cheerio. I want to be the top out of what I can be. And so he tries to become a chocolate covered Cheerio. And and to become a chocolate covered Cheerio, the test is 20 years, okay? 20 years of him studying and his Cheerio knowledge. And he takes the test, he gets his results back, and he's passed again. So he's at the top of the Cheerio world, and he's really excited because nobody has ever done this before, going from being a whole grain Cheerio all the way to being a chocolate. And they're all supporting him in what he's gone through. And but halfway through the party, he discovers something horrendous. He hasn't got any milk left. Now for a Cheerio to survive, obviously they must need milk. And so every 2 hours they must replenish their milk source. Now this chocolate covered Cheerio has gone an hour and a half without any milk. So he rushes down to the store, and he's at the store and he gets to the milk department. And with this point, there's only about 5 minutes left until he dies, right? So he's really desperate, and he gets to the milk. The milk lineup is way too long, right? And so he goes over, he tries something different. Now there are different types of drinks that Cheerios can eat, but none of them are quite as good as milk. So he tries the water section, right? Now water, not quite as good as milk, but he'll survive. He'll still go. So he gets to the milk queue. He looks at it, way too long again. So he moves on over to something else. He looks at the soda line. Now, soda is really bad for Cheerios, right? And Cheerios, it doesn't really always work for them. But he's desperate, and he thinks, if I have this soda, it'll give me enough time to stand in the milk lineup and get some milk. The lineup for the soda, way too long. And so he moves over, and he tries the last thing available. And it's a punch section. Now, punch Cheerios is awful. It is terrible for a Cheerio to have. Even to intake. But he's desperate, and if he doesn't get this punch, then he will die. And so he goes over, he looks at the punch cue, and there is no punchline.
I'm going to play Feel Exception by Paramount.
Memorizing lines is still a work in progress, so we're on that. I remember my lines. He's all set. Ish.
Hear you.
Well, now, Mr. Perkins, it was good of you to come in. I realize you're a busy man, but I didn't think this. I'd read that. That's the hardest you're gonna have all skit, so. Well, now, Mr. Perkins, it was good of you to come in. I realize you're a busy man, but I didn't think this matter could be discussed over the electric telephone. If Tommy's in some sort of trouble. Well, quite frankly, Tommy is in trouble. Recently, his behavior has left. Yeah. He seems to take no interest in school life whatsoever. He refuses to muck in at the sports fields, and it's weeks since any master has received any written work from him. Oh, dear me. Quite frankly, Mr. Perkins, if he wasn't dead, I'd have him expelled. Beg your pardon? Yes, expelled. If I wasn't making allowances for the fact that your son is dead, he'd be out on his ear. Stiff as a board and bright green. This is, I fear, typical of his current attitude. One moment. The boy has no sense of moderation. One moment he's flying around like a paper kite, and then about next moment he's completely immovable and beginning to smell. Well, how did he die? Well, is that important? Yes, I think so. Well, it's all got to do with the library. You see, we've had a lot of trouble lately of boys taking out library books without library cards.
Your son was caught, and I administered a beating during which he died. You'll be glad to know that the ringleader was caught, so I don't think we'll be having any more problems with library discipline. You see my son to death. Yes, yes, so it would seem. Please, Mr. Perkins, I'm not used to being interrupted. The library card system was implemented.
What exactly happened?
Well, it seemed that the boys were just slipping into the library and taking the books.
No, the beating.
Oh, that. Well, one moment he was bending over.
Dead?
Deadish. Mr. Perkins, I find that this fascination of yours with your son's death is quite disturbing.
Well, it wasn't me who beat my son to death.
Well, that was perfectly apparent from the day he arrived here. I wonder now, as I wondered then, if Tommy might have turned out to be a very different boy if you had administered a few fatal beatings earlier. I've had afternoon to accommodate for the funeral.
This is preposterous.
Yes, it is. Or at least, it would be, if it were true. I'm sorry? I've been joking, Mr. Perkins. Pardon me, it's my strange academic sense of humor. I've been pulling your leg.
Oh, thank God.
I want to cancel afternoon school to bury that little brat.
Far from this opera forever. drip out of every pore.